Kansas City may be all about the Royals right now, but our area arts and cultural institutions are getting in on the act, with the Symphony and the Casey Library finding creative ways to make themselves relevant during the season when everyone in this town seems to be only focused on one thing. As city leaders proclaim the economic development impact of the World Series in KC, the arts is bringing in a hefty chunk of change too. This week we push aside our regular reporter roundtable to bring you 4 newsmaker, arts and cultural leaders in our metro. Hello everyone, in the words of Monty Python, and now for something completely different. I don't quite know how to put this, but they're kind of a big deal. Just like Royals players, they should have their names printed on the back of their shirts for the seismic role they play in their slice of life in Kansas City. We have with us the executive director and CEO of the Lyric Opera, Deborah Sandler. The head of the Symphony, Frank Byrne, is with us. The leader of one of our metro's top cultural jewels, the director of the Kansas City Public Library System, Crosby Kemper, dressing up for the part. Thank you for that. Thank you. He has had a very distinguished career heading the Art Institute of Chicago, the gold standard for arts education in America. He's now the new permanent president of the Kansas City Art Institute. Tony Jones, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
With the entire metro, it seems, entranced by the Kansas City Royals, what are arts organizations to do but, well, join them over at the library? They've been making international news for their efforts.
Well, things have been getting heated between the public libraries in Toronto and Kansas City. Their poetic Twitter battle has gone viral, worldwide attention in recent days, and each side is throwing some serious literary heat, though.
And it continues with the New York Mets and a book battle with the Public Library in Queens. Outstanding in the rain, Find Me Unafraid. Kansas City baseball, what I know for sure, no end save victory, tweets the Casey Library. The smack talk back from New York, not so to worry. Baseball's good guys getting back to work, all formulated from book titles. Whose crazed or exceedingly clever mind does this come from? Crosby, is it yours?
No, actually, Liesl Chrisman and Katie Stover, our social media person at the library, who knew that we had to have a social media person at the library, and Katie's our reader's advisor, nationally known.
And was it an absolute given then you had to have some sort of connection with the Royals at this time when the World Series is playing, that you had to have these brainstorming sessions internally to say we've got to do something about the Royals?
There's some notion that we might be obsessed about the Royals, and I don't know where you get that idea, but yeah, of course. I mean, everybody's thinking about baseball now. Baseball is got a great history in Kansas City, and so we love baseball. Absolutely.
Now, the Symphony also trying to connect its audience with the World Series action. Everyone does a challenge right. Harder, of course, for Symphony conductor Michael Stern, who is from New York.
We lose. I also promise at the very next subscription concert where I am present to don a Mets jersey. And as an encore to that program, to play from Bernstein's On the Town, New York, New York.
Last year, the Symphony got rave reviews for playing the national anthem during the World Series. Here they are all at Kauffman Stadium, and here they are at the Chiefs' home opener at Arrowhead. No call this year, though, about reprising that role?
Not yet, but we're still waiting. We'd love to do it.
And so who makes that call? Is that Major League Baseball, the Royals, or is it the Fox television network?
Actually, I believe it's a combination between Major League Baseball and the Royals, but we've been in touch with them and let them know. Put us in, Coach.
Now, some people say they would prefer at this point they would wrap it all up in New York, but it could still happen in Kansas City, and you're still waiting for that call.
We, too, would prefer that they wrap it up in New York, but if they come back to Kansas City, we'd be honored to be part of it.
But why does it always have to be other types of performance? What about an opera singer? Deborah, at the doing the national anthem. Why not?
Well, why not indeed? And funny you should mention that, because in the last 2 years there have been 2 opera singers who have sung at, well, of course, Joyce DiDonato sang at the World Series last year, and that was a grassroots effort. That happened because it was a grassroots effort. It said there's hashtag Let Joyce Sing. Joyce did not initiate that, and there was a groundswell of support, and the end result, of course, was that she sang. And we had another singer who came into town and who also sang at one of the baseball games. And interestingly enough, when we have singers coming into town, they email me and they say, is there any chance I can play at a game? So let the world know.
And this is all about, of course, having relevance with your audiences.
Absolutely.
You're actually finding other ways at the opera to connect to audiences with libations and your young friends of the lyric.
There's a misnomer out there that opera is for the older demographic, and then it's not relevant to young people in Kansas City, and it is. If you look at movies, I mean, how many movies have opera in the background or have scenes where people are on the opera?
Deborah, what is the hardest obstacle to getting people to buy a ticket to the opera?
I think there's a perception that opera is not accessible. And we are doing everything we can to counter that perception. So we have created a number of new programs. We've developed programs both on our own and in partnership with a number of people, some expected, some unexpected. I mean, we're actually collaborating in partnership with everyone sitting at this table.
Including Tony Jones over at the Art Institute.
I don't know if you knew that, Tony. Did you know that?
I did.
You have a life drawing class?
Well, he has no problem getting young people because he's already got a campus filled with young people. That's not his problem. But you complained, Tony, when you took over this job, you've got a 16-acre campus right in the heart of the city, but most people have no clue what's going on there. So what are you doing about that?
Well, we're going to fix that. I have a different characteristic for Rock Hill. Nelson Atkins Museum on one side, Kemper on the other, and the college in the middle. Think of it this way, 2 showrooms and a factory.
Now, you just got a $25 million gift, the biggest in the school's history. With the utmost of respect, why did they give you that anonymous donation when there has been such a slew of negative stories about the Art Institute of late, from the departure last year of your predecessor after a vote of no confidence to the news that the school was suing a big-time donor for reneging on their commitment after they fell on hard financial times?
That was then, and this is now. This is a vote of confidence. This is people believing that we have a real future, that we're a major player here, that we're going to be, to use your word, accessible. We're not a gated community. We're a place that's going to open our arms. We're going to become not a barrier between the 2 museums up there on Rock Hill. We're going to become a bridge. We're going to welcome people onto our campus. In the old days, when I talk to faculty members like those who are in their 80s and 90s, they say, you know, it used to be an arboretum. We had a Japanese garden. We had koi ponds. Like, wait a minute. You've got an art school with one of the most beautiful buildings in the city, which we're going to 100% restore. I want to share that with everybody. I want people to come up Warwick Avenue, turn into those gates, and I want them to have what I call my Downton Abbey moment.
But you know, people may not realize this if they're not living in the arts world. But again, as I said at the very beginning, you were the head of the Art Institute of Chicago. I mean, the gold standard of arts education. You came in only really as an interim here to sort of fix problems, but you're now the permanent head. Why did you decide to take that on?
I fell in love with this city. This is a wonderful community. You know, I came from Chicago, big, deep, lots of arts and activity. And I come to Kansas City and I'm shocked, I'm surprised, I'm overwhelmed by the richness that we have here. A great library, a great lyric opera, a great symphony orchestra. Then I start going through those free distribution newspapers. I see movies, poetry, dance, theater, all sorts of stuff going on. I'm overwhelmed with the depth of cultural asset that we have in the city, and the kindness of the people, the excitement of the art community, the genuine talent that's here. I feel like I'd like to be a part of that.
We're talking a little bit here about making your work relevant to audiences, and I do see beyond the Royals, I see that the symphony is working and connecting in other ways too, like showing Star Trek the movie while the symphony plays the entire score. Frank, do you have subscribers who say, what on earth are you doing over there? You're dumbing down the orchestra.
Well, not at all. I mean, there's a wonderful connection between music and film, and these great film scores are played by full symphony orchestras. So we get to do what we do best and to share it with the audience in a different way. And quite honestly, the experience of seeing the film with live musicians on stage is absolutely thrilling. It's very engaging, and it's just one of the things that we're doing to take what we do best and share it with people in a new and different way.
Now, 4 years ago at this very time, we were celebrating not a baseball team, but the opening of the Kauffman Center for the Performing Arts. At the time, we were told by civic leaders its opening would change Kansas City forever. But what about you? Now that the novelty has worn off, are you selling more tickets today than you did before you moved in, Deborah, over at the Lyric Opera?
Yes.
So you've got more people coming than you did before?
More people coming now than we did before the Kansas City, before the Kauffman Center opened.
So
yes.
It wasn't all hype?
It was not all hype.
How about you, Frank?
Absolutely. I mean, by virtue of the Kauffman Center and not sharing one building as we did when we were all at the Lyric Theater, we've been able to expand our programming. So the number of people that are coming has grown by over 40% before opening in the Kauffman Center, and our revenue by over 80%. So it's been a colossal home run for this organization and for all the organizations in the Kauffman Center.
You know, the head of the Kauffman Center for the Performing Arts last year becomes the head of the National Endowment for the Arts. It becomes huge news. Well, a year on, what has that meant for Kansas City? Are we now swimming in cash? Is the Lyric getting lots more money because of that Kansas City connection, Deborah?
No, but I think it has highlighted the place that Kansas City holds in the arts landscape in North America. The whole world has come now to look at the National Endowment and Jane Chu and what she's accomplished in Kansas City. So we're on the radar in a different way than before.
What difference has it made, Frank?
I agree with Deborah. I really think it's about awareness and changing perceptions about what Kansas City is as a destination for arts and for cultural tourism. I mean, I don't think the chairman of the NEA actually gets involved in granting decisions, but people are thinking about Kansas City in a new and different way. Let me give you an example. Last season, the symphony had ticket purchasers from 45 states, the district, Guam, Puerto Rico, and 10 foreign countries. Now, who else in the country can say that such a national and even international audience is being drawn to their performances? We're very proud.
Now, Crosby, if 4 years ago at this time, the biggest thing in town was the opening of the Kauffman Center, is the next big thing the launch of Kansas City's new streetcar line? The first streetcar was supposed to be delivered this week, but it has now been delayed. We've heard our reporters take on the streetcar line on this program. Does the streetcar play any role in your work at the library?
Absolutely. There's a library stop, and it's a great amenity for downtown. I was an opponent for cost-benefit reasons, as you probably know. I've expressed that on KCPT before. But now that it's here, the library will be riding and reading on the streetcar, and you know it's fairly slow, so we'll be able to hand out short stories to people, and they'll be able to read them on their trips.
We've seen video of the Kauffman stop, but what difference does it make to you at the Lyric Opera?
Well, we're in the Crossroads District, and we have these fabulous First Friday events. They're just wonderful, and they've sort of been the go-to First Friday event in that area, and it brings people closer to us, become, again, more accessible.
But what about, though, at the Art Institute? It comes nowhere near you. So is it an irrelevancy to your students?
Nowhere near us yet. But I would love to see it come all the way down Main to the plaza and loop around, perhaps. It would be an incredible opportunity for us. I predict it'll be a great success. I'm sure it will be extended.
If that's not the biggest new project for you, I do see, and it was in the Kansas City Star today, the whole Cultural District project, led by the Nelson Atkins, which is to have elevated walkways and pop-up art that will have and walkways that will connect all of our sort of arts jewels in Kansas City. How does that make you feel? Does that make you start sweating, thinking, wow, what is our role in all of this? Or are you salivating over this?
Both. That's a really good question. What is our role? What are we going to do? How do we contribute to that? How do we become part of this economic engine? You know, Nick, I was involved, as you know, with Millennium Park in Chicago. 260 million taxpayers' dollars, 200 million privately raised. In the end, the impact of that economically in Chicago is currently judged at being $1.9 billion as a direct impact of what happened with Chicago's downtown cultural district. But it's locked up in a 26-acre site. Here, the Cultural District Plan is talking about spreading that out. That wealth, that richness of the arts is not just contained up there on Rock Hill. It begins to spread to Troost, to Brush Creek, to all these other different places. That impact is going to be incredible.
I shortchanged you on the streetcar conversation, Frank. What role does that play for you?
The most important thing to me is that it helps to create a more vibrant and interesting downtown. And the more people come downtown and stay downtown, the more likely they are to take advantage of our performances or anything else that's going on. So if it's good for the city, it's absolutely good for the symphony.
Okay, well, next up, sizing up your biggest challenges. We start at the Opera, which has been grabbing headlines after announcing a major organizational shakeup and eliminating the artistic director job long held by Ward Holmquist. Deborah, you are now doing both jobs. Was that a cost-saving move?
Well, in the words of my august colleague Tony, that was then and this is now.
Okay, all right.
So let me just say that when I was hired by the board in 2012, I was given a mandate of moving the company to its next level. And as I was hired as both the artistic head of the company and the chief executive officer. And so my job is to ensure the sustainability for Kansas City now and for future generations. And we are very excited with where we are right now. We have assembled a fabulous artistic team. We announced just a few weeks ago Vincent Cole, one of the foremost tenors of his generation and a Kansas City native, as creative consultant. So we're very excited. We had a great start to our season, and we opened Rusalka on November 7th.
But this doesn't say to patrons and others in the community that the Lyric Opera may be experiencing financial woes behind the scenes?
Not at all. My last 3 years, we have finished in the black. We have a surplus this year. We have record assets. So that is not at all true.
What is the library's biggest challenge? Is it what should we be? In August, the KC Library is also front page news. A picture of a library volunteer rescuing hundreds of valuable books, Crosby, from a dumpster next to the Central Library. Part of what she tells the Star is a book culling process gone too far. Bibliocide, she calls it, as the Central Library rids itself of some 30,000 volumes since the fall to make room for a new technology centre. Another commenter claims they just want to turn it into a Barnes & Noble. Is there no room for books any longer? Are people simply not reading them?
Nick, do you really believe that about the Kansas City Public Library? We're an intellectual center. We're the center of book culture in Kansas City. We love books. We're all about reading. Our greatest challenge is to make this a more literate city, to make this the most literate city in the United States. We're well on the way. And it's done with books, and there are lots of books in the Kansas City Public Library. We have one of the great book giveaway programs in the history of the United States. Received the gold medal from the White House for doing that, for our Books to Go program. No, we have a great challenge, which is education in Kansas City and reading in Kansas City, but we're up to the challenge.
Was that the most horrifying headline, though, involving you and the library over the last few months, or was it when you were thrown out of the Missouri governor's office as you were lobbying to prevent $6 million in cuts to state library funding? Being tossed to the curb, you claimed at the time, was something you'd never experienced in your entire working life before.
Actually, being thrown out of my friend, the governor's office, was a lot of fun, and it went viral, like our book spine poetry has gone viral. And the kids, we took 75 teens to protest the cuts to libraries to the governor's office, and I think we made our point. Actually, the toughest challenge we face is the city using tax increment financing, which defunds. It takes library tax money, school district tax money, mental health levy tax money, community college tax money, and funds corporate welfare, funds corporate real estate. And that's our biggest challenge, because that's $3 million a year that the city takes from us, $30 million from the school district.
What about the biggest challenge at the Art Institute? You have 610 students. Is it enrollment? I've seen the Chronicle of Higher Education, Newsweek, talking about private universities with students of bodies of less than 1,000 becoming extinct in the future. Is that your biggest challenge, to try and get people interested in having an arts education right here in the center of the country?
We're going to be successful, and as a byproduct, I'll prove them wrong. The challenge for us is to offer a fantastic opportunity for young, talented men and women from all over America who want to come to a place that is unique. We are not Rhode Island, we're not Chicago, we're not Los Angeles, we are the Kansas City Art Institute. So what's the character? What's the Midwestern Valley? What do we do? Do you know what we are? We're tool guys. There are thousands and thousands of students who say, you know, I was born with hands. I like to make things. I love to work with a mouse. I love to work with I love to work in animation and high technology. I can do all things, but I don't know how to screw two pieces of wood together. We have a great program in fiber, in ceramics, textiles, animation, illustration. We've got students want to come to us because we're tool guys. We know how to make things. That's a Kansas City value, and it differentiates us from many other colleges of art and design. Let's build on that tradition and give those students of the future that opportunity. That makes us unique.
Over at the Symphony, do you have challenges? I see you've talked already about how great your subscription base is, how many tickets you've sold already, Frank, and then you've just signed up Michael Stern as a superstar status there to a long-term contract until an unprecedented 2020. Do you have challenges?
We don't have challenges in the sense of so many orchestras around the nation that are struggling. Instead, our opportunities are to sustain the incredible momentum that we have built up over the past 4 years in the Kauffman Center, and also to raise the bar and to realize our full artistic potential. It's a magnificent time for our organization, and everyone is so energized about what we are doing and what we believe we can do into the future. So we are very, very focused on this, and everyone is raring to go.
Well, Arts KC, the advocacy organization representing metro area groups, puts out a hefty report this summer on the state of the arts in Kansas City and the views of local residents about arts programs. What are the conclusions in its 60 pages? One is the need for a regional ticket surcharge to support arts efforts. And then comes the other shoe. Does the Metro have the gumption to try another bi-state tax for the arts? It's been nearly 20 years since the passage of a bi-state sales tax, which helped give new life to Union Station. The survey captures the views of more than 1,000 respondents in all 5 counties who say they would spend up to $15 a year in extra taxes to help support arts activities. Next year represents the 20th anniversary of the bi-state vote on Union Station. Is a regional tax for arts back on the political agenda, Crosby?
Well, there has to be something in it for Kansas, for Johnson County, and the civic leadership, the arts leadership will need to figure that out. They didn't do it last time, and that was the reason it was defeated. And I haven't heard anything about how they would propose to do it now. I mean, it's a great idea, but it needs an anchor in Johnson County.
Because you mentioned Johnson County in 2004, when the last time arts programs was put on a regional tax vote in Kansas City. 54% of Kansas side voters rejected it, Frank, at the polls. Have we learned lessons from that?
Well, the one lesson I think that we need to continue to focus on is what I would call broadly regionalism, because I believe that there are regions serving arts organizations like the Symphony, like the Opera, and like so many other in our city. And because they may be physically located in one place does not mean that they don't serve the entire region. Over half of our audience members happen to live in Kansas. Yet I think of Kansas City as one unified region, and I think we need to forget about the state line for a moment and focus on all the opportunities that we have if we can simply work together.
You were in Chicago. What was the sort of taxation situation with regards to funding of arts there?
Well, it was difficult, always difficult. And Chicago at the moment, as you know, is in terrible financial condition. But the arts thrived. It became a place where, whether you were a painter or a dancer, you were a person that was part of it. I do hope that there is this vote. I hope people will support it. But I have a 3-word issue here. Support young audiences. If they do this, this money has to help young men and women in schools that have been denuded of their arts programs, who don't have an opportunity to work with a dance teacher, who can't work with a great violinist, who can't do the things that they should be able to do. If this referendum and this vote goes, then some of that money should go to replace those lost opportunities for the brilliant talent that's sitting here in the region.
In 2004, when arts was put on the ballot, people thought it was too difficult, it was too unspecific in terms of where the money would go and the formula for how the money would go. So what would they support in this new Arts KC report? Well, in this new report, it says support for library programs and events comes in dead last at the very bottom of residents' interests in all 5 counties, below live music in coffee shops and independent film festivals. Did that hurt, Crosby?
We're raising private money to do that. All I want is for the city to stop taking our money. If the city stopped taking our money, we could continue with our programming forever. If the city stopped taking the school district's programming, we could fund early childhood education. I don't need another tax as long as the city lets me keep the money that's rightly the children's money. I do think there is a place that for libraries and for books that the by-state tax would fund, and that's the National Center for the Children's Book that Pete Cowden and Deb Pettit have put together, called The Rabbit Hole. And I think that people in this community care about children. It's a great place for children. And the National Center for the Children's Book, The Rabbit Hole, is a fabulous idea. And that would be funded, I think, by all 5 counties. You know, we have a hard time with a couple of those counties, even in the last couple of by-state successes.
Frank.
I think one of the things that's very important is that for the identity of Kansas City, we need Major League Sports, but we also need Major League Arts. So while we support and love the idea of neighborhood activities and small things, we need to also support the Major League Arts institutions in Kansas City that are serving hundreds of thousands of people on a scale that is truly significant for economic impact and for artistic impact.
And I should point out, Deborah, I mean, because when we talk about Major League Arts, you are a rarity in Kansas City as a woman leading a major arts organization, and a rarity in the opera world. And I saw a story about you in the Kansas City Star saying that you went to a major opera directors convention nationally, and you were the only woman in the room. What difference, though that raises eyebrows, what difference does that actually make, though, to the experiences of audiences that we have so few women at the highest echelons of power in opera in this country?
There's a woman named Judith Warner, who many of you may know. She's a writer, and she did a report for the American Center for Progress, and she talked about the fact that, you know, 60% of the women who earn bachelor's degrees and MBA degrees, and yet are only represented to about 16 to 17% as executive leaders. And that's in the profit world, and in the for-profit world, it is the same situation. So we know that the majority of people who buy tickets to opera are women. And when you don't have women making decisions, it has a vast impact on who is cast, what is performed, and the issues that are discussed. So to that end, I am leading a charge nationally with Opera America, and we've begun the Women's Opera Network. We're regionally discussing it here. There's going to be a forum at the Central Exchange on the same topic, and we're in conversation with Library of Congress, who also wants to do a program about it. So
and on the words of Deborah Sandler, that is our Week in Review. Our thanks to this week's news reviewers from the world of arts and culture: lyric leader Deborah Sandler, Kansas City Library leader Crosby Kemper, the new permanent head of the Art Institute, Tony Jones, and the executive director of the Symphony, Frank Byrne. I'm Nick Haynes. Thanks for spending part of your World Series weekend with us.